Good morning guys, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the 2020 Suzuki Swift. Now I've got this thanks to Worthing Suzuki, and this is the hybrid model, so we're going to have a look around the outside of this car before we take it out on the road and talk about the tech and practicality. So we'll start round the front of this car. We've got a large Suzuki badge in the middle, we've got daytime running lights and fog lights, and this relatively large grille at the front. On some of the models that actually comes with an aluminium trim. I personally prefer it without it, but everyone to their own. In terms of styling as well, the windscreen is typically Swift, it sort of curves around slightly and it gives it a signature look. The paint on this as well, it's an optional extra around 200 odd pounds, but you can go for a two-tone and that's 695 give or take. So we have a look around the side. This model comes with Bridgestone 16-inch alloys. Again, go for the next model up, and that will come with diamond cut and slightly larger. We've got a swage line that gives it a nice crease down the side through the door handles into the rear lights, and again a nice curve. Starts off the rear wheel arch, curves round into the front. So from the side, I just think it's a good looking car. Now, rear door handles, you may notice, hang on, they're missing. They're not, they're actually up here. And this black section is supposed to give the car a floating roof line. I possibly think it does, I'm not sure, but it just looks pretty good anyway. And also the roof is slightly sloping. We'll head round the back. Now as standard, this comes with a reversing camera which is just by the number plate. Again, the hybrid badge denoting this is something a bit different. Now let's open up and we'll have a look in the boot. In here we've got, I think it's 260 litres of storage. We've got a couple of tethering hooks here and here, a bag hook up here, and also a light. Now this model doesn't actually come with a I don't think any of the models do a full-size tyre. That seems to be a feature that's going on now. You get a foam punch repair kit, and again a pump which goes into the cigarette lighter. So that's the outside of the Swift. I really like it. So we're going to take this out on the road. We've got a friend of mine, Josh, who's over there looking uncomfortable. So we're going to hop in. Josh, if you want to get in the other side, and we're going to take this car out and see what it's all about. So, key in the ignition, start it up, everything comes into life, and let's get going. Right, the first thing I think we should have a discussion about is hybrid. What is this? What is it? What does it mean for the driver? How do they use it? And what exactly is this hybrid system that we're talking about? Well, for the driver or the owner, it's basically will give you better fuel consumption, which ultimately then means less time at the petrol station and more money in your pocket to go and spend on something else. So in terms of actually using it, well, you just start the engine and drive. That's it. There's nothing clever at all about this. Well, nothing clever that you need to do as a driver. Very, very simple. Now, this gets a bit more complicated. I hope you don't get too bored with the slightly more technical aspects of this. Now down here, this, if you can see it, we've got a picture of an engine, a battery and a tyre. And this is the hybrid system. So we've got a normal battery up front, we've also got a lithium ion battery, and that is used to drive the electric motor. Now when we're come to a stop, it's got start stop on this, so we've stopped, it's cut out completely, and when you put your foot down it starts up. Now there's nothing new about start stop, it's been around for many years, but the way this works instead of having a traditional starter motor to kick the engine back over, it uses the electric motor, so it's very, very quiet and a lot more efficient. When we come up to a roundabout, again we're going to stop, strangely, and when you pull away, both the electric engine and the petrol spring into life to give you a bit more oomph in order to get away. Because when it comes to fuel economy and that sort of thing, it's the pulling away, it's the acceleration that really does hit you quite hard. So you've got that benefit. Now, when it comes to charging that battery, you've probably heard of plug-in hybrids, and that's where someone has to go in and plug the car into the mains like a kettle. You don't have anything like that to worry about. It uses something called regenerative braking. Now when you brake or you're coasting along, it uses the electric motor and kinetic energy to recharge the batteries. And that's it. It's really, really simple. So if we have a quick chat about what we can see down here, we've got a picture of the motor, battery and tyre. So when the arrow is going from left to right of the engine, it means it's, well, using an engine to power the wheels. I lift off to coast, and now it's using the kinetic energy arrow from right to left in order to charge the battery. It's just quite interesting. I'm not sure you'd be looking at that very often. The other thing I've just noticed up here, we've got this red streak there, and when you brake, you should get a small battery icon pop up. Always the way when you want to show something, it decides it's not going to. There we go. See, we've got a battery, and that means, again, it's exactly the same as down there. It means it's being charged. So that's the hybrid, that's the main difference and the important bit that we need to discuss. So let's have a look around the rest of the cabin. We've got the infotainment system over this side split into 4 tiles. So you've got radio, call for your phone, media and connect. This is standard, comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is fantastic because I know a lot of cars nowadays don't even come with it, or it's an optional extra. This particular mid-range model doesn't come with a sat-nav. Again, that is an optional extra, but if you've got a phone, you can use Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and just use Waze or Google Maps. So that is very, very simple. I actually use that and prefer it over the manufacturer's own versions. Underneath that we've got climate control. Again, higher spec model comes with, sorry, this is air conditioning. It comes with climate control on the next one up. So I'm going to have to use that. I'm getting a bit warm now. Let's turn that on and hopefully it won't ruin the sound completely. Under there we've got 12 volt power supply, a USB port and an auxiliary in. Wow, an auxiliary in. I've not seen one of those for quite a while. So obviously they're catering to everyone's needs. If we go into media as well, wow, iPod. Can you buy iPods? I'm not sure if that's even a thing. Say auxiliary and SD card as well. God, they've certainly catered for everyone and every device you might want to plug into this car. We can control the infotainment system from on the wheel. So we've got the volume up and down. You can change some of these settings with mode. We've got a way of picking up the phone, and it's actually got voice control. I've not had to play around with that yet. I never get on very well with voice control. It doesn't seem to like me, so I'll leave that well alone and just say it's got it. So in the middle here, where we were discussing earlier, we've got this Tft Display, which shows all the trip computer information. If you again go for the next model up, you have a full colour display. So we can cycle through different bits of information using the info button. So we can see fuel economy, average fuel economy, 50.9. That's pretty good over the course of the past 167 miles. total range to refuel, average speed, driving time. Now this is quite interesting. So the amount of time you've been idle, and then the amount of fuel you've actually saved. That's very clever. Instruments in front of me as well, nothing particularly spectacular going on, just rev counter, speedo, but I do like the red borders they've put around it. I think that looks quite modern, and these sort of raised out parts, I'm not quite sure the exact definition, but again they just look quite nice. In terms of build quality and materials used, you've got to remember this car is around £12,000, so there are some cheaper materials they've had to use. The touch points are pretty good, so it's a nice feeling steering wheel, you've got soft parts to rest your arm, but the rest of it, there are some cheaper plastics. It doesn't look cheap, which is good. We've also got this nice white plastic that runs across here, but very scratchy. Although, does it really matter? How often do you go around scratching your car other than on car reviews? I'm actually quite happy with that. So in terms of driving feel and quiet, how quiet it is to drive, let's turn the air conditioner off. So we're in a 20-mile-an-hour limit. We'll just potter around and I will be quiet for a minute and we can listen to how noisy or not noisy this car is. That's not too bad at all. I know we're only doing 20 miles an hour at the moment, so we'll go and find some faster roads, but considering this is a little 1.2, I think it's only a 3-cylinder, it's doing pretty well. It feels quite nippy. These roads and towns, I could see a lot of owners driving around somewhere like this, and I've no idea where we're going. Josh is direct. Josh, where are we going?
Go, you can head straight up here.
There we go. So luckily we've got a local who knows where we're going. I'm randomly driving around a housing estate at the moment. But in terms of slow driving and agility, it seems pretty good. The steering's light, it's quite responsive, and we're going to go left. The sat-nav almost sounds like a real person. But it's quite a funky car, it's quite cheap. So if we look at the price, at the moment with Suzuki Worthing, they're doing 20% off, and also Suzuki are giving you another £1,000. So PCP options on this, I know it's going to change depending on credit history, etc, etc. You can get in this for £149 a month. £149 a month with a like £1,400 deposit. That's a bargain. And if you don't want to put down any money, it's like £170. And a car that looks like this, that handles well, it's practical, for £149, I think that is a bargain. So we're going to ask a younger person's opinion. Josh, what's your thoughts on the look of the car? And
yeah, the look of the car is really nice. Obviously, I like the entertainment system, and it's all touch as well. The volume, there's no dials; it's all touch, so I like that as well.
And what do you think? You know, in terms of styling from a younger person's point of view, would you be happy to be in something like this?
I'd cruise around with my homeboys in this.
See, there we go.
Yeah. It is a very nice car. I like the seats with it's got quite a bit of lumbar support, which is quite nice. I don't have the best back in the world, but yeah, it's quite comfortable.
Well, there we go. Seal of approval from a younger person and me not being younger. So we've got this slightly faster bit of B road, which you can see how this car handles well up to a point. I would have liked some really nice country roads, but there's not many of those around. So if we push on, obviously 60 mile an hour along here, the one thing I can say instantly is, because it is such a small car, it feels like you're going a lot quicker than you actually are, which isn't exactly a bad thing. So gear change as well, it's pretty good. I mean, the suspension is, well, relatively softly sprung, which is great for bumpy roads like this. And yeah, that does alright, considering it's not really a sporty car. The handling on this is, that's alright. It's quite light steering. I would have personally preferred maybe a bit more weight to it. It's maybe a bit loose, but I suppose you're not really going to be using for this, more of a city car, and for that I found it's absolutely perfect. So in summary about this car, I think it looks pretty good. It's quite sporty, it looks a bit different, it's practical. You can fit, well, in theory 3 adults in the back, but they'd have to be very, very small. So it's more of a two-seater in the back. Fuel consumption's been really good. We'll quickly flick through to that. And considering all the driving, 49.6. It's a brand new car. So if you were maybe a bit gentle and once it's run in, you'll get slightly better than that. Interior, it's relatively basic, but has absolutely everything you want. And for £149 a month, I don't think you're going to get much more for your money. Well guys, on that note, I'm going to call this video to a close. If you have enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Comments are always welcome, and remember to click on the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.